Hello everyone, this is your educator Priyanka Thakur teaching you licenses and welcome you all on our YouTube channel Gurmantra Shiksha Ka Granth. So today in this video we are going to study about animal tissues, and this is the animal tissues part 1 in which we will know about epithelial tissue. We are going to study this epithelial tissue in detail. Okay. So we have started our animal physiology portion. After completing this, we will move to ecology. And let's start with our today's topic without wasting even a single second now. Tissues. What exactly are tissues? We know that each and every organism is made up of cell. Cell is a structural and functional unit of life. So tissues are made up of what? Cells. Tissue results, the aggregation of tissues results in the formation of organ, and organ combine to form organ system, and finally we are able to perform different activities that are necessary for our survival. So what exactly is a tissue? Tissue are the group of cells that have similar structure and that act together to perform a specific function. Okay, so it means a tissue will have cells which will be having the similar structure, and those will act together, and they all those cells will perform some specific function. The word tissue, this word tissue comes from a form of an old French verb meaning to weave. Like tissue weaves the organ and then organ forms the organ system. There are 4 different types of tissues in animals. These are connective tissue, muscle tissue, nervous tissue, and epithelial tissue. So there are 4 types of tissues like connective tissue, muscle tissue, nervous tissue, and epithelial tissue. But today we are going to study epithelial tissue. So be attentive while you are studying this particular topic, and remember all the examples that I'm going to tell you in this video. These examples will help you in your examination, in different kind of examination, like, okay. So see, epithelial tissue. Epithelium, it consists of cells. Those cells are actually arranged in a continuous sheet. Now that sheet will be formed of a single layer or multiple layers. It means epithelial tissue are arranged in the cells in the form of a continuous sheet, but those sheet will either be in a single layer or they will have multiple layers. So what is the function of epithelial tissue exactly? It is going to line the cavities, different organs and tubes, and its function includes protection of all the underlying structure from dehydration, chemicals, etc. All the tissues, all the structures that underlies beneath the epithelial tissue, this epithelial tissue is going to protect all those underlying structures from dehydration and chemicals. Other function of epithelial tissue includes secretion and absorption. Remember one thing, epithelial tissue has its own nerve supply, but it lacks its own blood supply. Remember this point. Epithelial tissue has its own nerve supply, but it does not have its own blood supply. It is avascular. It gets the blood from the adjacent tissue. So blood vessels are located in the adjacent tissue, and the exchange of material between epithelial and connective tissue occurs by diffusion, right? So there are 3 types of cell junctions that are found in the epithelium, which are gap junctions, adhering junctions, and tight junctions. Your desmosomes are adhering junctions, right? So epithelial, you got to know the basics of epithelial tissues. They are arranged in the continuous sheets. They have a single layer or even multiple layers. They are going to protect the structure. They are going to help in secretion and absorption. They are going to do what? They are going to do perform a number of functions which are necessary for the survival of the living organisms, okay, especially animals I'm talking about. Fine. So let's know about the classification of epithelium. Exactly, in broad sense, epithelium is divided into 2. One is covering and lining epithelium. Other one is glandular epithelium. One is covering and lining epithelium. Other one is glandular epithelium. So covering and lining epithelium. Covering and aligning epithelium, as its name is indicating, is going to form the covering and lining of body organs like skin, tubes, and etc. etc. So this covering and lining epithelium is further divided into simple epithelium, okay, and then stratified epithelium. So this simple epithelium includes like simple squamous epithelium, simple cuboidal epithelium, and simple columnar epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium is composed of single layer of flat cells. Squamous flat cells. So simple squamous epithelium will have a single layer of flat cells, and you can see the simple squamous epithelium in Bowman's capsule, in alveoli of lungs, in heart, in blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, etc. Remember two very main examples, very important examples that I haven't mentioned in this slide are Bowman's capsule and what is the other one? Tell me. What is the other one? It's what did I just tell you? It's alveoli of lungs. Fine. So this simple squamous epithelium helps in diffusion, filtration, osmosis, and secretion. Okay, secretion is not the main function of simple squamous epithelium. Its main functions is diffusion, filtration, and osmosis. Simple cuboidal epithelium. It consists of a single layer of cube-shaped cells that cover the surface of ovary and lines kidney tubules. Okay. So simple cuboidal epithelium, as the name indicates, there will be a single layer of cube-shaped cells, and it is going to cover the surface of ovary, and it lines the kidney, anterior surface of eye, etc. Okay, the main function includes secretion and absorption. Simple columnar epithelium, you will see the columnar epithelium in stomach and intestine as well. Okay, simple columnar epithelium is further of two types. One is a ciliated columnar, and other one is non-ciliated columnar. Non-ciliated columnar will have micro. It may consist of microvilli, and it will even have goblet cells. Okay, so ciliated columnar. What will happen here? There will be a single layer, but the cells will be column shaped, but those column shaped cells will have cilia. Okay, for example, bronchioles, lines of bronchioles consist of ciliated columnar epithelium. Other than that, your fallopian tube consists of ciliated columnar epithelium. Central canal of spinal cord consists of ciliated columnar and uterine. It moves mucus by ciliary action, and it also helps in movement of egg, okay, in the fallopian tube. Non-ciliated columnar consists of non-ciliated column-like cells and lines the gastrointestinal tract, ducts of many glands, etc. and mainly functions for secretion and absorption. We know that the function of cuboidal and columnar epithelium is of secretion and absorptions. So these non-ciliated columnar cells may consist of goblet cells and microvilli. Okay, these non-ciliated cells may be goblet cells and they may consist of microvilli. Okay, so that's all about simple squamous, simple cuboidal, and simple columnar epithelium. So these are the types of epithelium. Look at the first one, simple squamous. You can see the flat shape of the cells. Then simple cuboidal, you can see the cube-like shape of the cells, and then simple columnar with column-like shape. In squamous, you can see that the alveoli are, nuclei are present at the base of the cells. Like, then comes stratified squamous, stratified cuboidal, pseudo-stratified columnar, and transitional epithelium. What happens in stratified squamous epithelium? In stratified squamous epithelium, see, there are cells in stratified squamous epithelium. They may be cuboidal or columnar, but the apical cells will be flat cells. Okay, in stratified squamous, all other cells could be of any shape, but apical cells are flat cells. That's why it is stratified squamous. In stratified cuboidal, apical cells are cube shaped. In pseudo stratified columnar, the apical cells are not pseudo stratified columnar. It's your stratified columnar. The apical cells will be columnar in shape. It's pseudo stratified columnar. What is the meaning of pseudostratified? Pseudostratified is actually a single layer of cells, but it gives us the appearance of a stratified epithelium because the nuclei are not aligned in a proper manner in pseudostratified epithelium. So it feels like there are a number of layers present there in the epithelium, but it is actually a single layer. This is what pseudostratified columnar epithelium is. And then comes the transitional epithelium. In transitional epithelium, you will see the columnar and cuboidal squamous type of cells. Okay, so let's know about stratified epithelium. As you know, stratified squamous, there will be multiple layers of different cells from cuboidal to columnar cells, but the apical layer will contain flat cells only. Now see, if the keratinized if the cells are keratinized, okay, and keratinized we are going to line the layer of skin, while the non-keratinized lines the larynx, pharynx, vagina, etc. And the main function of the stratified squamous epithelium is of protection. And what is the main function of a simple squamous epithelium? It's diffusion and osmosis. Stratified cuboidal. More than two layers of cell in which the apical layer contain cube-shaped cells and lines the duct of adult sweat glands and part of male urethra. So stratified cuboidal epithelium can be seen in the sweat glands and the part of male urethra. Its main function are protection, absorption, and some limited secretion also. What happens in stratified columnar cells? There will be several layers of different cells, but the apical layer has column-like cells which lines urethra, excretory ducts, and parts of conjunctiva of the eye. Remember this thing, that in excretory ducts we will see columnar epithelium. It will be stratified columnar epithelium, and simple epithelium could also be present there. Okay, so main function of stratified columnar epithelium is of protection and secretion. And then comes the transitional epithelium. The apical surface are variable from squamous to cuboidal. When stressed, they are squamous. When relaxed, they are cuboidal. The cells, when stressed, they are squamous, and when relaxed, they are cuboidal. It lines the urinary bladder and part of urethra and uterus, and its function is that it permits distension. Okay, if you don't know the meaning of distension, you can comment down in the comment box. I will definitely tell you the meaning of distension, right? Okay. Next, here we completed our what? Epithelium. Which epithelium we just completed? We completed our simple epithelium. Now here is our what? Glandular epithelium. Now what is glandular epithelium? Remember one thing. Whenever the cuboidal cells or columnar cells become specialized for the function of secretion, they are now called as glandular epithelium. Okay, when columnar and cuboidal cells are specialized for the function of secretion, they actually are now called glandular epithelium. So glandular epithelium make the secreting portion of glands, and there are two main types of gland: endocrine glands and exocrine glands. Endocrine glands are ductless glands. In this, hormones they secrete hormones, and those directly diffuse into the blood from interstitial fluid. For example, adrenal glands, pituitary gland, pineal glands, pancreas is both endocrine as well as ectocrine. Okay, so all these glands like adrenal gland, pituitary gland, pineal gland, all these are endocrine glands, and the function of endocrine gland is the release of hormones which are going to regulate different activities of our body. Okay, right or wrong? Absolutely right. Fine. Then exocrine glands. Here exocrine gland, they actually doesn't release mainly hormones. Okay, but they release their secretion through ducts into the blood. Okay, exocrine glands are classified on two bases. They may be remember all the sweat gland, your enzymatic glands, your salivary glands, all these are exocrine gland. Fine. So structural classification, according to the structural classification, they will be of different types. in structural classification, the glands are classified as unicellular or multicellular. As the name suggests, unicellular are single cell glands. For example, goblet cells. Goblet cells are exocrine glands which are going to secrete the mucus, but they are unicellular. But these exocrine glands can be multicellular. Okay, and then multicellular glands are further divided into different parts like simple glands. Simple glands include simple tubular, simple branched tubular. What will happen in simple tubular? In simple glands and simple tubular glands, the secretory portion is straight and is attached to single unbranched duct. For example, glands of small intestine are simple tubular glands, and then comes simple branched tubular. In this, the secretory portion is branched and this secretory portion is attached to unbranched duct. Remember, according to structural organization, there are two types of glands: simple glands and compound glands. All these simple glands and compound glands are multicellular. Simple glands are simple tubular, simple branched tubular, and there are also other like simple acinar will be there. But remember, all the simple glands are going to attach to a single unbranched duct. So, example of simple branched tubular gland is gastric glands, right? Then comes simple coiled gland. Simple coiled gland, secretory portion is coiled, and this secretory portion is attached to unbranched duct. As the name suggests, coiled, then the secretory portion will be coiled. Simple sweat glands are simple coiled glands. Simple acinar glands. Secretory portion is rounded and it is attached to single unbranched duct. For example, glands of penile urethra. And then comes simple branched acinar. Now we know that simple but branched. The secretory portion is acinar, means rounded but branched, and it is attached to the unbranched duct. For example, sebaceous glands, or we call them oil glands. So sebaceous glands are simple branched acinar and sweat glands are simple coiled. Then come compound glands, compound tubular. Now the secretory portion will be straight, but they are going to attach to the branched duct. For example, bulbourethral glands. Compound acinar, secretory portion is rounded but is attached to a branched duct. So, mammary gland is an example of compound acinar. Compound tubuloacinar. Secretory portion is both straight as well as round, but it is going to attach to a duct. Okay, branched duct. Example, acinar glands of pancreas. Right. Okay. So, here you can see the diagrams. Check out the simple alveolar acinar. You can see this. It's a rounded gland. The secreting portion is what? Round. It is attached to a unbranched duct. Then sebaceous glands. Branched, you can see there are multiple what? You can see the round like sebaceous gland, simple branched alveolar. You can check out they are simple branched alveolar. What exactly they are showing? They are showing the branching of secreting portion, but you can also see they are attached to a unbranched duct. Okay, see simple tubular, tube like, and coil like, and again simple branched tubular. Okay, and next compound acinar. Okay, mammary glands. In mammary gland you see acinar, compound acinar, different. They are attached to a branched duct. Then compound tubuloalveolar and compound tubular, but they are attached to the branched duct. This is the main difference between simple and compound glands, exocrine glands. So, the other aspect of classification of exocrine gland is a functional classification, and this functional classification is done on the basis of how the secretory portion is released. Okay, how the secretory portion is released. So, how the secretory portion is released? There are three types of glands based on how the secretory portion is released, right? There are merocrine glands, Mitochondrial gland secretions are synthesized on ribosome attached to rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, secretions are synthesized on ribosomes attached to rough endoplasmic reticulum. What happens in mitochondrial glands? Where the secretion will be synthesized? It will be synthesized on the ribosome. That ribosomes are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, and then they will be processed and in the Golgi bodies and will release in the form of vesicles. Okay, so example is salivary glands and pancreas are mitochondrial glands. What happen in apocrine gland? The secretion accumulate at the apical surface of secreting cells. Okay, and then I think it will be thrown out of the cell. And how it will be thrown out of the cell in apocrine gland? Like, it will accumulate on the secretory on the apical surface of the secreting cell. Then it will be released out of the cell. Okay, how? By pinching off the vesicle. In holocrine gland, secretory portion is accumulated in the cytosol of the cell, and then the cell ruptures, and after the rupture it will release its waste, yes, or we can say secretory product. Okay, so holocrine gland example is sebaceous gland. Remember about these glands: mitocrine gland, apocrine glands, holocrine glands. Salivary glands and pancreas are mitocrine glands, sweat glands are apocrine glands, and holocrine glands are sebaceous glands. If you are confused about anything, you can comment down in the comment box. I will be replying to your query. But that's all for today. If you want to take the subscription of an academy to prepare for your CCSIR net June 2021, here is the detail on your screens. You can check out the detail of paid classes. If you want to act smartly, then you should take the 10% off, and you can do it by using the referral code of our mom, Neha Tanisha ma'am, which is Neha, and go there, follow her. She is going to be your educator, she is going to mentor you there. But do not forget to subscribe to our channel, which is Core Mantra. And if you want to join us anywhere else, then you can check out the description box, where you will get the links to our different platforms. Definitely click on the link and you will be there on our platform. That's all for today. Thank you so much and stay safe. Take care.